Hello there. I'm Yume, and as most of you have probably seen the previous video, we did a POV drive with an M2 competition. Well, that car's not here today, and I'm not sure if you can tell, but there's a tropical storm passing through right now, and I just got access to a garage, so I figured I would document me getting this car back into, I guess, good shape. I have some things I planned for this car while the M2 is away, and I figured I would go ahead and document those. I really had to get this car inside, so there'll probably be a little bit of a time jump eventually somewhere in the video, but yeah, this is my 1995 Nissan 240SX. It's got an SR20, and it's a drift car. Not much more to it than that. If you guys would like, I can, have another little video kind of explaining what's all done to the car and kind of what are my plans for it. But for now, this is a very basic video, just kind of going through some of the things that need to be done with this car. So I'll go ahead and get a little list mocked up. We'll have it right here on the windshield, real project car things, and we'll go from there. YouTube, welcome back. Now this is actually a continuation of the video from yesterday. As you can tell, it's a new day. I'm wearing different clothes, and it is still raining outside. There's a hurricane passing through kind of since yesterday, and it'll be passing through until like maybe a day or two tomorrow. So until then, I've got a little bit of background noise because it's raining outside, and I kind of need the garage to stay open a little bit for ventilation. So please bear with me with that. For today, I've got something very special. I have with me, and please excuse that this box sucks, an AEM wideband. Let's jump right into it, shall we? So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're just kind of gonna go through some of these instructions and make sure that we understand everything that's going on. And before anyone says anything, this is not an alcoholic beverage. This is sparkling water. It's Chief Forest. You can get it at Costco. This stuff is great. It's the orange flavor, not the best. Get the lychee. You'll thank me later. All right, let's get into it, shall we? All right, so we made it to my makeshift workbench for now. I just moved like 2 weeks ago, so I don't have any tables or storage right now. So this tote is the best we've got right now. So we've got a couple of things here. So we've got the actual AEM, it's like that. This is the actual AFR gauge right here. This, just tells us air fuel ratio, whatever, it's electronic. We've got the O2 sensor here. This actually already mates into a bung. Well, they actually provide a bung for us right here, a bung and some electrical connectors. Really cool of AEM. This is already heat shielded from the factory, which is really cool. And then this end goes to a harness, which is actually this harness. This is the harness that will run from the actual O2 sensor to the AFR gauge. So this thing is super long from AEM. It's really cool. And then last but not least, we have these connectors. This is to provide power, ground, and then there's two different outputs. I believe there's a serial output and another analog output. So for for our purposes, since we're not wiring this up to an ECU, we won't be needing the analog or the narrowband, or analog or serial, which I guess is narrowband. We're just going to be needing the red and black wires, which should be power and ground. So let's go through these instructions real quick. There's not a whole lot for us to go through, but there's a couple of things. Oh, I forgot to mention, but AEM also provides another faceplate and a silver bezel. This is the white faceplate. I think if you flip one of these plates around, I think it's on this black plate. If you unscrew it, you can actually flip this around and show lambda ratios, which is pretty cool. But we're not really caring for lambda, so yeah, there's that. Let's go ahead and screw this back in. So, as you can see, they're telling you how to connect up this harness right here, and this is kind of the diagram right here. This is the diagram of how everything's going to be wired up. So you can see here is the actual O2 sensor, the wideband, and then power. Red is power, black chassis ground. This is for 0 to 5 volts, narrowband, and 0 output. That's the main thing we're going to be needing here, as well as this. This also kind of tells you exactly what it is. See, white analog output, blue serial output. That's mostly for data logging, it looks like. It's kind of cool. They actually tell you what the AFR should be here. I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but it has like gasoline, AFR ratios, methanol, sorry, propane, ethanol, and then CNG, which I've never actually heard of CNG before. That's pretty cool. So we're going to go ahead and get the hood opened up on the car, and I will see you when we get some more stuff set up. I don't know how much of that actually recorded. I tried to hit record and I think I took a picture instead. It happens. I'm new to this. Let's get on with it. Anyways, so let me go and show you guys kind of what I've done in the meantime. So as you can see, there's a whole mess of wires. I'm not sure what got caught and what didn't during oopsie daisies, but so this right here is, this is the actual AFR gauge here. Oops. So this is the actual AFR gauge right here. Looks good. So we went ahead and plugged up the 6-pin for the sensor. That's working fine. And then we also plugged up the 4-pin that's going over here. So this is, I think, I keep seeing this serial and analog. These two I'm not using, so I'm going to put these away. I'm probably going to actually cover these up with some electrical tape in the meantime until I actually use them. And then I've went ahead and spliced in red for power, black for ground into the power and ground for the radio. So yeah, that's kind of where we are with that right now. We got the, ooh, this is hot. But we do have a sensor right here, which I just had a cover for the sensor. But as you can see, this is supposed to be calibrated. So if I turn it on, you'll be able to see it, kind of doing these little calibrations and such. It's not accurate, but we do successfully have the AFR gauge wired up. Come with me and I'll show you where the AFR gauge will be, or not AFR gauge, but the O2 sensor will be placed. So if you can see right in here, I have an O2 sensor bung already. Funny enough, this O2 sensor goes nowhere. Look at it, it's just wrapped around. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this wired in. My thought on this is plug it into this downpipe here, or I think this is my dump tube from the turbo. Typically, the manual actually says you're supposed to place it at least 36 inches from the turbo. Well, I could do that. I believe I do have a bung already down there. I think it just makes the most sense to reuse this bung right here, and then I'm probably gonna route it through the fender with the wiring harness. I'm not sure if you guys can see, it's kind of hard to see on camera, but there's an actual little pass-through for the wiring harness and some of the hard lines to go through to the fender. So I'm gonna run it through there and into the cabin, and then from there we should be able to get the AFR gauge in place, and I'll go ahead and get the radio back together, and I'll see you. Well, welcome back. So it's been a little bit. Had to take a break from recording, had to run to the store, take a couple phone calls, you know. That's just kind of the life when working on the car. But we've got the AFR gauge installed, so let's take a little tour of what I have done to get this AFR gauge. So first things first, I would just like to say that, you know, we have the AFR gauge down here. It's a little hard to see, I'm well aware. But yeah, AFR gauge is down there. It's right on the dump tube for the turbo. It is not going to last as long in that location, but at the same time, there's not much that I can really do regarding this. Don't mind the crazy camera angles here. Anyways, from there, I was able to run the sensor all the way to here, and then this kind of routes back into the firewall. If you can see, I actually have a boost line. I have my boost line tapped here. That kind of goes to the firewall, and then all of that just kind of runs back into the center gauges. This is, I guess, day 3 now of this, of kind of the whole journey, and I went ahead and got the AFR gauge wired up. Went to test it last night and found out, you know, the ground got disconnected when I was kind of putting everything back together. So now we actually have verification. I just went ahead and spent like 15-20 minutes, pulled everything back out and got the ground reconnected. It came out the butt connector. I guess I crimped it incorrectly, so went ahead and crimped it down properly this time. Everything looks good, and we're able to verify. So if you will, so I'll go ahead and set the camera down right there, and as you can see, it's calibrating. And let's give her a start up. Woo! Look how rich. Look how rich this car runs. Well, as you guys can see, the AFR gauge does in fact work. And what I have learned today is this car desperately needs a new tune, because running at 10 to 1 AFR on pump gas is pretty bad. So we're going to be looking into getting a new tune for this car eventually. And thank you so much for watching this video,
and I can't wait to see y'all in the next one.